are joined this morning by Amani Toomer and Eric Mangini.
Coach, how are you?
Good morning, Eric. Nice to see you. Oh, we have got a tremendous show for you today, as evidenced by our cast right here. Brady's rumored demand.
They'd be here even if the show stunk. But,
that is true.
But we do happen to have a great show today.
That is very true. We'll talk about LeBron's insane night last night, the big NBA trade, but we are going to be in this morning with the Super Bowl champ.
Who are they, Jenna Wolf?
Oh, it is the KC Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
It has been quite a week for Patrick Mahomes, fresh off another incredible season, fresh off a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl MVP. The talk in KC went from when will the Chiefs win to how many more will the Chiefs win. Most of that because of number 15, who's already cemented himself as one of the best players in franchise history. And thankfully for the Chiefs, he doesn't want to go anywhere else.
Obviously, I want to be in Kansas City for a long time. I understand that. I want to win a lot of football games here. And so for me, it's kind of letting that stuff handle itself. I'm in a great organization. I have a great team of guys working for me, guys and girls. And so for me, it's about trusting those people, finding the best way to do it in order to have the best team around me, and getting that done whenever the time is right.
They have barely had time to let all the confetti fully fall, and we are talking about what we're going to do with Patrick Mahomes in the years to come. The number is around $40 million.
Yep.
What do you think, Nick? Would Mahomes be worth a record-setting deal of $40 million per?
Of course. If he's not worth it, nobody is. He is the exact type of player at the exact position that is worth all the money. Whatever the market price is for the best quarterback in football, add 10 to 15% to it, and that's what Patrick Mahomes is clearly and obviously worth, and he showed it this year. Now, the sticker shock is going to be $40 million. So 40 times 5, we can do that math, 200 million.
I can
Talking about, yeah, 140 million, maybe 150 million guaranteed. But you can't look at it as 40 million. You've got to look at it as 10 to 12 million, because that's the spread between what Mahomes will cost and what the going rate is for just average quarterback play. So the example I was thinking of is you go to a steakhouse. Coach took me out to a very nice lunch not very long ago. The steak I wanted, coincidentally, on the bone Kansas City strip. You see it, it's $71. It's an enormous amount of money for a steak or anything. But the cheapest steak on the menu was $52. So you're anchored at $52. It's really, is it worth the extra $19? In the NFL right now, you're anchored at $28 million. Kirk Cousins cost you $28 million. Jimmy Garoppolo cost you $28 million. So is Patrick Mahomes worth the extra $12? Would you rather have Kirk Cousins and a really good right guard? Would you rather have Jimmy Garoppolo and a solid number 2 corner, or Patrick Mahomes and figure the other position out? That's what it is, because it's not a difference of 0 to 40, it's 28 to 40. So to me, Coach, he is unequivocally, unquestionably worth it. In a world where Russell's at 35 and Aaron's at 36, of course Patrick is worth 40.
You know, unlike with Nick's finances, the Kansas City Chiefs have a salary cap, so you can only go to so many of those steak lunches before you're headed to McDonald's. So there's got to be that balance there, and you're trying to make sure that you have the right mix. Now, I do agree in the sense that you have a young player at the greatest position that on the team.
Yep.
Arguably the best player at that position in the league. And more important to me is he's a good person. And one of the things that you try to do organizationally is not just pay your best players, but you want to pay your best people. You want to send a message to the rest of the team that we not only value what he does as a player, but we value what he does as a person and what his contributions are to the team from that standpoint. And to me, this is a unique opportunity to do that. And $40 million, it may seem like sticker shock, but it'll only seem like sticker shock till the next deal, which will trump his $40 million.
Which will probably be soon, in a couple of years.
I think Aaron Rodgers at 34, so $6 million more a couple years later. It really is. It's a rounding error.
It's about what you would expect it to be.
And he's earned it. And they have the potential every year to be in a position to compete for a championship, and you're paying a really good person. To me, that's money well spent, and you understand some of the things, the sacrifices you may have to make at some point, but that's okay because he makes you so much better in so many other areas.
Absolutely right. I think he is the right type of person, and I know all the other quarterbacks in the league are saying, go ahead, get the money, because all that does is drive up the price of a quarterback the next time go around. I remember you're talking about sticker shock. Remember when Drew Bledsoe had that first $100 million contract? Everybody was surprised, but then it became the norm, and now it just keeps on. That's just the evolution of sports, the evolution of the economics of sports. Now, you can go the total wrong direction, is which the Saints did when they paid all that money to Drew Brees, and for a couple of seasons there was a talent deficiency because all the money was going towards Drew Brees, and they couldn't sign their Pro Bowl tackle, that guard that they had. And so that's what you don't want to have happen. But when you look at Patrick Mahomes, he's the right guy. He's young. He has a lot of years left. You know, you can keep throwing money down the road in terms of, you know, keep extending him, and so that he'll never actually be a free agent, and he'll have the opportunity to play for the Chiefs for a long time. And there's no reason why he shouldn't. And with him saying that he's going to play for the Chiefs for a long time, he just wants that long-term deal to get that guaranteed money.
$40 million for Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem like a ton when we're talking that Dak Prescott wants somewhere between 30, 32, 35, or whatever it may be. But Coach talks a lot about a force multiplier, and you usually talk about that in reference to a guy on the team making the guys around you better. But with Patrick Mahomes, as you said, he makes the whole team better on and off the field with his leadership and his poise and all of this at age 24. But Amani brings up a good point. When you pay someone like Patrick Mahomes that kind of money, is it going to leave holes on the rest of the roster?
Listen, you're going to have to draft incredibly well.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to They haven't had Brett Veach, their star GM, who, by the way, everyone should read. Kevin Clark did an interview with Brett Veach back in August, where on The Ringer, where he talks about they've been preparing for this moment since after Mahomes' rookie season, when he played one game, trying to schedule, kind of slot their contracts where they will have a hole in the cap that will be filled by the $35+ million they anticipate giving Patrick. But Brett Veach never had a first-round pick. They traded a first-round pick away to be able to get Patrick. They traded another one away to be able to get Frank Clark. But he's hit on his second-rounders. McCole Hardman, I think, is a good pick. Juan Thornhill was one of their better defensive players before he went down with an injury in Week 17. But there is going to be a narrative, and it's going to be a wildly unfair narrative, that Patrick should do what Brady did, and that Patrick should take less to help the team. The history on Tom Brady doing that is incredibly inaccurate the way it's been portrayed. Tom, in the first decade of his career, kept getting paid super early. He was a 6th-round pick. After he wins the Super Bowl, he has, at that point in his career, made $480,000, and he has 1 year left at $385 and then restricted free agency. So they got him below market because they paid him 2 years early, but there was a below market deal. He then wins 2 more Super Bowls, but has 2 years left on his contract. They pay him early again, so they get a discount. That's how it works in business.
I love the way that you talk about Tom Brady's contract. When he gets paid early, you take a discount. Usually when we're talking about any other player that we pay early, you're like, pay a market value. It's 6 years early. Pay a market value. No. He's unhappy. He's unhappy. He don't want to be unhappy.
What I'm saying is...
But for Tom, it's like, of course
that's not what I'm saying about Tom. What I'm saying is, in negotiation, the closer the employee is willing to get to the end of the contract, take on more risk, the more money they usually get. The earlier they sign the extension, they usually take security over maximizing their dollars. There's been one time in Brady's career he has pushed it close to the brink prior to this year. And guess what happened in 2010 when he did that? He became the highest paid player in the NFL. People act like that didn't happen. In 2010, look it up. Tom Brady, $28 million per year. The next highest was Peyton Manning at $27.5. So the one time he pushed it...
Well, he really pushed the envelope there.
No, he deserved it. No, I'm not saying that. What my point is,
that's crazy.
The reason that Amani said other players are rooting for Patrick is because when a player does do what Brady did post-2010, which is take discounts, then teams can pressure players. Well, you know what Tom did? He's the GOAT. He played for $14 million. And that's unfair. Yeah. The owners locked the players out to keep the salary cap as low as possible, and then on the back end say, well, the salary cap's not high enough, take less money. Patrick should take every dollar he can get. Absolutely. He's earned it.
Nick, there is a reality. Like, it's not an unlimited amount of cash flow, so the more the pie that you take, the less there is for other people. And at some point, how much money is enough? And is it better to win and get the other things associated with winning? Or is it better for you to get every single dollar you can?
Capitalism.
I don't begrudge him from getting that money, but there's a reality that comes with it. And so you can't be mad if the team's not improving, but yet I'm taking every last cent I can get.
I agree, but we also have a new CBA that the owners and players are hammering out as we speak. And if we're going to put pressure on players to take less to help the team, I'm sure every player in that room would say, hey, just give us a couple more percentage of the revenue. Salary cap will jump to $240 million, and nobody will have this question again. So we can't just say it's on to the players to take less to help the team win, when the owners, through the stroke of a pen, could say salary cap's $250 million, you can pay everybody. That's the unfairness I see in that, at least, discussion point.
All right, before we go to break, we want to show you this great viral video. The Chiefs Super Bowl wasn't the only celebration this past weekend. On Sunday, the NFL crowned the top 100 players in their history.